London, England, south of France. And all points between, they know about your man. Konnichiwa, ladies, when I'm out in Japan. I'm a Tokyo giant like Ichiro, I am.
Welcome to another edition of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. We're here to help inspire you to go for it and live the lifestyle design of your dreams. Here's Rob.
Welcome to another edition of the Lifestyle Design Confessions podcast. I'm Rob Murgatroyd with GetJetSetMoney.com. And today I have Clay Boeschen on the line.
Yeah.
Clay recognized pretty early in his life that he was a bit bored with it. He wanted to shake it up and kind of hit the reset button. He quit the dreaded 40-hour-a-week job, headed out for an international journey that began in South America, and he worked his way all the way to Asia. So I got a lot to talk about. Without further ado, Clay, are you there?
Yeah, right here, Rob.
Okay, cool. So Clay, just by way of background, could you tell us how you went from UCLA to a full-time job and then saying, screw it, I'm out of here. I'm going to Central America. I'm going to South America. I'm doing anything but this. What happened there?
Yeah, actually, I can remember when I was first graduating UCLA. I was in my last year at UCLA, and I think every single one of my friends already had a job lined up. They had something already going for them by the end of, or the beginning of our last year. And I was getting nervous. I was thinking, I've got to be responsible. I've got to get a job. By the time graduation came around, pretty much all my friends were set. And I said, well, I guess I gotta get something going for me. So I went out. I found a job. It was a tech support job. I don't love tech support, but I was good enough at it to do it. That allowed me to sign up, get a lease on an apartment with a friend. And basically, I just, right after college, jumped right into the real world. I worked that job for about 2 years. And listen, I don't like to really half-ass anything. So even though I didn't care about the job that much, I worked my butt off and I kept moving up and up. And the further and further up I moved in that job, the more I kind of realized this isn't for me. I don't know why I'm doing this, why I'm spending all my time and all my efforts and all my energies working up in this job that's not going to lead anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's a little bit of a cliche by now, but when I realized I wanted out, the book that landed in my lap was The 4-Hour Workweek. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I don't think I have ever read the second half of that book, but which is all the practical stuff. And here's how you make your money. But the first half of that book ended up being the biggest inspiration to me ever. I've probably read the first half of that book about 5-6 times, and every time it gives me another push. And it was just kind of the first thing that made me realize I don't need to be working my job or really any full-time job. It made me realize that my only needs really are food and shelter, and I can get those. So, I mean, it didn't hurt that while at my job, I mean, it was a retail job. It was tech support in a retail store. I was still able to save up a bit of money to be able to travel. I didn't realize it at the time. I just happened to live frugally. But I just realized, you know what, I can say screw it. I can go out and travel. I've never traveled. I'm moving up in a job I don't care about. Why don't I just do this? So
yeah, I
wanted life experience. I did it.
Yeah, I kind of personally think that the first half of the book is more of an inspiration than anything else. I mean, I think the second half of the book, you know, if I had to rate the first half from 1 to 10, I'd give it a 20. And the second half, I'd give it like a 3 or 4, which is frankly one of the reasons why we created GetJetSetMoney.com, because there really wasn't a lot of tactical advice that people can actually use. So I completely agree with you. I mean, I've probably read the first half of that so many times. I think the difference with you is that you actually did something about it. You didn't just read it and say, I'm going to change it. I mean, you really did something about it. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. What was kind of going on in your head after you read it, after you went through the tech job and you're like, that's it, I'm getting out of here, I'm going to travel. You know, obviously a lot of people read the book. And if they don't read the book, they, meet guys like you, or they see something on TV, or there's just something inside of them that's nagging, going, you know what, I'm just not doing what I want to do. I really want to be doing X. And what stops them is what stops everybody, which is fear. So talk to me a little bit about, those sort of fears, anxieties, trepidations that you have. I mean, what was going through your head, if you can remember, when you actually made the decision and you're like, that's it, I'm not doing it, I'm out of here, I'm quitting, I'm packing up, and I'm moving to Central America. Talk to me about that time period.
When I first decided, it was just excitement, because my job, I kind of had been looking at other prospects, other ideas, other jobs, but nothing really had come up at the time. So I always just stuck with what I had. But when I finally just kind of realized, you know what, I have the money saved up. I don't need much money. I think, enough to at least get me out for a month or two. It was just pure excitement. But then when the time came around, the hardest part for me, and I still get butterflies in my stomach thinking about it, was really just quitting my job. It was just leaving the job. That was the hardest part. But it wasn't because of money or because I can't believe I'm throwing this away. This is the dumbest part, and this is something I know there are people like this, and I need to tell you, don't be like this. It was because I felt like I was screwing the people at my job over. I felt like I'd gotten so involved in the day-to-day operations that they just wouldn't be able to function without me. And I gave them, I think, like 6 weeks notice so they could transition better from having me there. But I've talked to other people too that had the same problem. But listen, if your job is going to crumble without you there, it's going to crumble with you there eventually too. It's not a very well set up business. So there really shouldn't be any kind of guiltiness, any kind of feelings of guilt when you're trying to leave your job. That's what I realized. It took me about a month or two after I'd actually left the job to realize, you know what, they're just going to move on. They're going to be just the same without me. If they're a business that needs me there, it's not a very good business if they can't function without me. Beyond that, though, I had to be honest, I was just psyched. I was psyched to be gone. I got rid of all my stuff. I felt good. And honestly, it's once you really get into it and once you know that there's nothing else there stepping in your path, it's the best feeling in the world.
Okay, so now you quit the job. You're dealing with the anxiety of feeling like you're letting the team down and all of those all of that psychology stuff that you're battling in your head. You get on the road. You're now in Central America. Are you thinking, what the hell am I doing here? Like, how did I leave Southern California and I'm in the middle of friggin' Central America? I don't know anybody. I don't really speak the language, like a native. What am I doing here? Was there any of those moments, or was it just pure adrenaline?
I have to be honest, it was pure adrenaline. I expected those kind of moments. I completely expected them. They never came. At least as far as I can remember, they never came. It was more to me, before I left, the biggest thing another thing I kind of got out for our work week was, I don't have any life experience. And to me, I saw it more as, I'm in Central America and I'm actually gaining life experience for once. I'm actually kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone, and I just kind of fed off of all of it. I guess I'm just kind of methodical in how I see my personal development. And this is another thing that I kind of realized before I left the job, before I made all these plans. I just kind of felt like, you know what, I can't move on in my life. I can't do other big, important things until I get some life experience. And every time I felt any kind of discomfort or any kind of new challenge, it was just, this is life experience. That's kind of the feeling I had the whole time.
So how old were you when you started?
I was 24 years old.
You're 24. Okay. So you really started, gaining the life experience much, much earlier in your life. And it's interesting. I'll be 44 next week. And, at 24, I have to be honest with you, I don't know that I would have the balls that you had. And also, when I was 24, there was no internet, so a lot of those things didn't exist. So perhaps, I don't know, maybe you can process things differently than, somebody could have 20 years ago.
Well, I guess another